Welcome to the Generation Fit podcast. I'm Benji, this is Chris, and in this episode we're going to talk about a bunch of random stuff and everything relating to our origin story. You might have listened to some of our first episodes before, but this is the revived, new and improved Generation Fit podcast. Let's get into it. Wait, what about the electrolytes?
Like I'm saying, how all of it is all screwed up. The body weight weigh-ins in the morning, because
I
do everything in the morning, so it's backwards. Whereas most people, most people like when they have their caffeine, they go to the bathroom afterwards. So it's like, oh, whatever. Yeah,
basically in the morning, if I do get all my electrolytes in the night before, like basically if I did not have enough, I weigh in at a certain weight that's like 2 pounds more or 2 pounds less, and then the next day, if I actually replenish my electrolytes, I'm like 2 pounds more. So it's all fucked up if you're trying to figure out how much you actually weigh and get good data.
Yeah, all of it's messed up. That's why when you have caffeine, when you have your last meal, if those are all consistent, then it's, in the morning, think of it this way. If I get up at 5:30 to 6 o'clock in the morning and have to go lift and within like 30 minutes to, within 30 to 45 minutes, imagine how much water I had to take in, probably 2 big glasses, then it's electrolytes. And then if you ever had an element packet, no, we're not sponsored. We hope to be sponsored soon.
Yes,
and then
we will be.
And then you have to take in that, and they recommend 16 ounces. I do it in 4. So imagine how salty that is.
That's crazy.
And then I have caffeine. So
does it taste a lot worse?
I still love the taste.
Really?
Yeah, I love the taste. I'm used to not tasting. I remember all my cooking has been bland throughout the years until recently. Gotcha. So imagine any sort of stevia flavoring is like amazing to me right now.
Do you do that and caffeine before you lift and carbs
water,
as well?
Electrolytes, caffeine, and then the corn, like the healthy corn flakes. That's just it's literally just corn, salt, and a little bit of sugar.
Yeah,
and that's literally all the ingredients. And then milk to mix in with that, would make it like the protein shake stuff. Like, so imagine protein shake, water, salt, coffee, all in the morning, all liquids, every single one.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. So do you like shit yourself, like liquid poop when you're trying to work out?
No. Definitely
like a heavy squat. You don't do that heavy squat though, right? Because you're gonna like.
No. I would basically I just run to the bathroom 5 times in my workout every single day, and it's all piss. It's literally just for any of you morning workout people. You know my pain. It's you wake up in the morning and some of you might just go, but then you're chugging water there, and then halfway through your workout you're just pissing like a racehorse because you just didn't take in either too much liquid, then you had electrolytes that were liquid or whatever it might be, but there's just so much liquid coming in the morning, you're just like going back and forth, and then eventually if you take caffeine by pills or by like liquid, it's just a shit ton of once going in and out, so you're just like okay, mid set I'm like going back forth.
Yeah, I'm going to a Pollen today with my dad. I haven't gone to a commercial gym in months. Probably that was the last gym I went to since I worked at a gym. And, they only have one bathroom there. So they have like the locker room, but then they have the bathroom downstairs. And it's like the awesomest gym. But if one guy is like clogging up the bathroom, like taking a massive dump, like if you have to take one, like you can't. So you either have to leave the gym or like squeeze your ass cheeks like on every movement. So you get extra glute gains.
Damn, it must be good for the women.
Yeah. Well, I remember the bathroom closed down once. Like they had a plumbing issue, and it was like disastrous. Like I went to the back of the place and just like took a piss behind like this old car, like this old rusty car, and like I was just pissing, and like this cat walked out right in front of me, and like I got some on it.
Oh my god!
Like I peed on the cat.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Episode 1. We preying on cats.
Yeah, we're gonna offend every people group and every animal. Every animal protective group.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. If you're part of any of those groups, you're doomed because I eat every single meat possible.
You're probably not watching this podcast. Let's be honest. And if you do, it's because it's the first episode back. It's putting down all our numbers of those. Imagine those are all the people that are here for the first 10 seconds, and then the viewership rate is like drops down to 0 because it's like for some reason they accidentally recommended the algorithm to all vegans.
Oh god. I just can imagine. Like put it this way. All of our, especially our nutrition philosophy, is just all about like lean protein. So imagine going from like listening to other people saying, "Oh, you shouldn't eat this and this and that," and realistically, it's like, well, most of our lean protein intakes have been basically any sort of beef, poultry, seafood, and we're not by no means biased by any means by any of them. It just so happens to be the fact that we just eat a lot of it because imagine trying to get so much protein in a day. I'm not getting that through. I definitely don't want that through protein powder sources or supplement sources. More so, especially when dieting. But I just can't imagine if a vegan group comes in and listens to us and like these guys are these guys are shit because they're harming all these animals. But realistically, it's like we have I have a subscription to Butcher Box. I love getting the red meats from there. I get their pork as well. I have no bias whatsoever. I just eat all the meat. Yeah. I enjoy most of them. Actually, 99% of them, except for like a really dry turkey. Out of everything else, I probably will eat it.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I didn't kill a cow, like I didn't do it.
That's also true too. I do understand some of the process, but so
Like I don't understand. Maybe it was like human beings. They were like, all right, like we're mass
Yeah.
killing human beings, or like we're selling slaves to everyone, and it's like, all right, I don't want to participate in this, guys. Come on. But like it's a little different when like it's an animal. It's not a human being. And it's like, well, if we want to optimize results, not only in the gym but like with your health, you're probably going to be eating some of these things that people say, oh, it's unethical how they kill it. And it's like, okay, well, let's focus on making it more ethical then, instead of just saying we're not going to eat it at all. Because if we just stop eating it, chances are, things aren't going to go very well.
oh, it's already going synthetic. I'm pretty sure there are patents by some of the biggest billionaires right now. They're trying to get synthetic meats that replicate chicken. And it's funny to me because it's like, why not just eat the chicken if you're trying to get the replication of taste and the nutrients from the chicken? So it's basically like, okay, well,
It's so weird.
I can understand the argument of the other side. Like, oh, we're one day just run out of chicken. It's like, I was like, oh no, we're the mass producers. For the U.S. based people. We mass produce chickens at this point. We mass produce almost everything. So I don't think there would be a detriment of having or shortage of any chicken ever.
It's like it's like men's testosterone levels. Like, men's testosterone levels have dropped by 30% since 19, whatever the statistic is. And it's like chickens, like, what do they have the same problem now as like chickens can't get hard anymore?
Yeah, I doubt we'll have that problem. And then, the whole other side of the spectrum is the whole cow issue. Everybody's like blaming cows for the greenhouse effect or their farts being a massive problem. And realistically speaking, we have so many other issues of that. And then obviously the killing the cows, whatever. But I doubt any shortage of cows and chicken in the U.S. especially. Yeah. No shot. We're never gonna have that happen.
I heard someone say that we kill cows this way only because of how bad capitalism is, and it's like that's so ridiculous. It's like if you had the complete opposite and it was communism, it's like what if that communist regime ruled the opposite of instead of killing cows ethically, you have to kill them negatively. It's like it's the whole point is totally unrelated to the economic system, like how people are killing it. Like, how bizarre is that argument? Like, have you heard that before?
Yeah, I think I come from such a naive standpoint, or also I went not slightly naive and definitely hopeful in the sense where because we're in a capitalist society, that obviously the intent is to make money, but at the back end, but at the front end, most people don't go into businesses thinking I just want to make money, because eventually it was at the forefront you're trading something at the front end. So you can't, it's not just
you have to provide value to people. And most businesses are small. Like everyone thinks like big corporations, but I can't remember the exact number, but most businesses are small businesses.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole point, right? It's like the enormous amount of small businesses compared to the big corporate ones. We just know the big corporate ones, and then we just look at the face value of the numbers, whether it be by economists, whether it be by the numbers they give you on the spreadsheets, whatever it might be. But realistically, if you see at the forefront, most businesses start off by providing some sort of value or skill, and then they try to become more efficient, better, and then scale that. Then you kind of understand, even with this example, it's most of them will probably follow some sort of healthier practice from the start. It's not that they want to screw somebody right from the beginning. Yes, you do have those people, and it's a shame, but that's all part of it.
This is human nature, regardless of what economic system you're in or what governmental system you're in as well. Like that is human nature.
Yeah,
so one way or another, evil people are gonna rise to the top because like they are power hungry.
Yeah, like at a certain point there is definitely power. It's just if you're talking about humble beginnings, most people will actually start off with providing value, scaling that value or that trade, and then bringing that up into the forefront, and then that's where you know some things fall through the crack here and there. But
because they wouldn't be able to start anyways, then especially now, like I could get maybe 100 years ago when you're just like some scammer, like that guy who tried to sell the Eiffel Tower and he did it like 3 times successfully. It's like you can't do that anymore though. It's like there's a the whole thing on social media is like it's a trust recession, like it's what Hormozy talks about and all these different people. So people aren't victim to these marketers, like these scam artists anymore online. Not just any marketer, but like scam marketers, where there's like selling like air, essentially. You know what I mean? So they're so wary of that because of the last 15 years that they're like, we're not even going to buy anything, even if it's an amazing product. So like you really have to go the extra mile, the extra 10 miles to be able to establish trust with someone, to be able to actually sell them something nowadays. Yeah,
you can't hide in this society. Think about it. I mean, it's good and it's bad, right? It's bad because you literally can't do anything anymore without being caught in any way, shape, or form by CCTV, by somebody else's camera. But in this case, it is good for the consumer because that means if something does go awry or somebody does screw you over,
Yeah.
you can easily just be like, I don't like this guy, put it on blast on,
Yeah,
in this case,
exactly.
probably Google or Yelp or whatever the reviews are, especially for a small business. It's easily can be reprimanded pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And that's good and bad, obviously, of the whole cake issue with, these people saying that we don't care.
Oh yeah, yeah,
We're not going to serve you, or
I know about. They changed the ruling on that too.
they really
I think so.
something about the cake and how like we're not going to serve. Is it
We really need Jamie from Joe Rogan to like do our podcast. I was like, Jamie, pull it up.
Yeah, something about a cake and people were like, we'll serve any.
It was the gay thing
It was
because they
the
were
gay
like
thing,
Christians. I think they were Christians. I mean, it could have been Muslims as well. The same thing, but the whole point was like that we don't want to serve these people this cake because we don't want to participate in their wedding because it goes against our beliefs. And like that's the whole thing. Like it goes back all the way, really, the idea behind that to like the Civil Rights Act in 1963 about like what a business owner, like who they should be able to turn away and who they shouldn't be able to, like what it should, on what basis they should be able to do so on.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
It's a dicey subject.
it is tough, but I mean, I'm at the forefront of, I think, based on principles. I think business. Basically, at the end of the day, if it's business first, you could, I guess, you turn away whoever you want to be, but the whole point is that you can't be reprimanded for. People also can decide if they want to.
Yeah, instead of the
take
government
action.
reprimanding you, how about the people reprimand you by not buying your thing anymore?
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I
where
mean?
I stand always.
Because like I think that, for example, if you go like all the way back to the 60s and it was all about black people being able to actually go into these places that they weren't allowed. It was like whites only, blacks only, like there was still segregation. And it's like they did all these sit-ins, right? And eventually like laws got changed and stuff like that. But the whole point is that imagine if just another scenario, people would say, "Oh, well, I can't believe you guys are saying this because you would believe that black people should still be segregated and some shit like that." It's like, no, like in reality, if you followed an alternative timeline and there was groups of people that weren't able to eat at a certain restaurant or something like that, and as society changed, instead of like the government forcing it down people's throats, society said, "We're not even going to buy from this guy anymore," and then that guy totally goes out of business. So you either have like a racist guy going out of business as society changes, or you have him staying in business because he's forced to self-censor his own beliefs, and he still bottles those beliefs and still has them. So he either feels the impact of having negative beliefs or still has the negative beliefs to begin with, and then just doesn't say anything.
Yeah, well, I guess it'd be a feedback loop of letting the people will dictate you, or the government dictates what's going on.
Yeah.
And then if the government does, in this case, it would just be that you're still holding on to probably the bad. Well, I guess the bad opinions in this case.
It's just kind of funny because it's like so far we did a little bit of fitness so far, and then we did business advice, like talking about like trust recessions and marketing, and now it's like civil rights act of the 1960s.
What are you gonna do?
That's our podcast, guys. That's what we're talking about here. All right, so should we talk a little bit about who we are, how we met each other?
Yeah. So I'll let Benji kind of break it down how we met.
Well, do you want to go into what do you want to do first? Do you want to go into our individual past stories and then like build it up so it's like the Avengers like origin stories. So it's like Doctor Strange, Ant-Man.
Yeah,
those are the most famous too. Okay, so I'll go first. I'll talk a little bit about myself in as concise a way possible. But essentially, I was a soccer player my whole life. Very, very skinny. No muscle on my frame. I remember like I still had friends and stuff like that. Like it's not like I have that origin story where I was bullied and then like I became Batman or something. It's not quite like that. More or less, I just would always be made, like, I'm an easy target to be made fun of because I take it so easily, like, so lightheartedly, and I could give it back to people. So, like, everyone was always making fun of me for, like, oh, you're so skinny, you know what I mean? Like, you have no muscle on you. And it wasn't anything that was, like, with a bad intent. But eventually, as I got older, and I was like, man, like, why can't I get any girls? Like, this sucks. It was something that was, like, constantly, like, ringing in my ear. Like, oh, like, why not just build muscle? Like, it would look so cool to look like these guys on the internet that look remarkable and are probably on steroids as well. But so basically, I had this point in time where I was playing so much soccer that I had no time left at all in order to, go to parties or hang out with friends. I was probably a junior in high school. So it was so disastrous for me, like the feeling that I couldn't get to go be with my friends. And, at the time, like, I'm younger, so I'm seeing, like, everyone snap stories and Instagram stories, and it's like everyone's having all this fun, like, Christmas, New Year's Eve time. I'm, like, distraught. I'm like, man, this sucks. Like, eventually just pent up to a point where it's like I'm missing out on this social element so much. And I basically, like, cried myself to sleep that night. It was, like, the most embarrassing, like, thing to say. But during these, like, few nights in between Christmas and New Year's, I saw... I was like going on YouTube and just like following, you know how YouTube works, right? You could basically be like, something about McDonald's and then like if I suck dicks, does that make me gay, right? Like, you don't know, like, you just go from like point A to point B, you don't even know where you are, right? And I saw this video of like, this is how you actually get girls, right? And it was essentially this guy, I think it was How to Beast, and he was talking about, like, you know, if you want to build muscle, like, you got to build muscle. Like, everyone says, like, you don't need to build muscle to get girls, but he's like, that's bullshit. You got to build a nice V-taper. And, like, I bulked, I was skinny, and I bulked up, and you should have a bulking shake and all this stuff. So, like, I saw that, and then the next video, I saw David Lade's transformation video. I was like, oh, man, if that guy could do it, I could do it too. So, like, the next day, I made the conscious decision that I was going to go to the gym every single day from that point forwards and get that result. And like, I haven't turned back. Like, that's what I've been doing. And my life every single day from that point, day in and day out, had gotten better and better and better to the point where I am at now. So it wasn't just a physical transformation, but it was very much so the mental transformation too. They both happened in tangent.
Damn. Damn. Yeah, that's a pretty damn good story, actually.
Thank you.
No, I mean,
that's when I became Batman.
We do have Batman in the back, so that's why we do mention him a lot. Yeah, I think it all ties in because I think how we met is actually based on we came from the same background. So I basically came from the background of baseball. I played baseball my whole life. I actually was very disciplined growing up with it. My father was just also a very stoic, also very quiet man. And he also instilled principles in me that were good and bad, and mostly good, if you really look back into it. But realistically, a lot of it was about the same with Benji. So growing up, didn't have that many friends, just a lot of baseball practice. And in that interim, I didn't know nothing about training, nutrition. I just played baseball, and that's all I knew. By the time I was 15, I was about 195 pounds. I was the same height as I am now, which is about 5'8", give or take. And just imagine a big, nice gut hanging over my baseball pants at every single game. Surprisingly still quick, and surprisingly still hit the ball.
Natural athleticism. Well, we start from opposite points.
Yeah, so it's so interesting. He's skinny. I was the fat kid, or he just had a gut, skinny fat. And at one point, or at least the breaking point for me was that I came home after my friends threw a party at my house because they were supposed to guard it and keep it clean while I was gone. And and when I came back, everything was a mess. There was something stolen, and then my father found out. And next thing you know, I'm grounded for 10 years. And in that interim, he basically told me that I was not allowed to do anything. I already basically didn't do anything. So imagine doing even less than nothing. And he got me gym membership, especially at a very famous gym around here in New Jersey. And I was not able to do anything else, leave the house, except for training for baseball and training lifting. And I know nothing about lifting. So kind of my hero arc here is I went to this gym called Underground Strength Gym. Shout out to Zach Evanish, who is still my favorite coach that I've ever worked with, and kind of showed me the mental and physical aspects of lifting, not just performance in the gym, but more the mindset going through how to take care of your own body, your mind, anything that has to be related with lifting and also to do with life, basically taking the initiative versus being in the victim mentality. And that was
Absolutely.
And that was kind of like the first introduction into lifting. So basically I came from such a disciplined life with baseball, but everything else was falling through the cracks. And then I was also fat because I ate Cheez-Its and Sprite for breakfast. It's still a good breakfast.
Absolutely.
Tasting wise. Tasting wise, not for health. But that was kind of my first introduction into lifting overall. That got me out of the hole, but I still didn't look good. So then eventually, after junior year of college, is when I actually started doing more aesthetic stuff. After watching some Matt Ogus, some Kino Body stuff, and kind of getting into the aesthetic realm. And because I was still fat, I still had a gut. And yes, I moved a lot of weight, but who cares? I just didn't look good either. So now it's like, yeah, sure, squatting 400 and something pounds for reps, but then I just didn't look good. I had like nice little pudges around my abs. So actually I have two parts where I was fat. So one where I was not strong and fat, and then I was strong and still fat. So imagine how destroying mentally that was for me. And that's where I started learning the basis of all training, nutrition, lifestyle. I got into it, developed bulimia, and then had to get out of that hole for 2 years. And then that's where I finally met Benji and realized that we together wanted to take on the same things. If we were standing in our shoes 10, 14 years ago, how would we tell ourselves back then what to do so we didn't have to go through those pains again? and also expedite the process. Because imagine I took 13, 14 years to get to where I'm at currently, where that could have been honestly taken down to about 4 or 5.
Yeah, exactly. And plot twist, guys, I was the guy who stole his TV, and then 10 years later, no, I'm just kidding. Imagine that was like how we met each other. And you're like, and Benji ended up being the guy who stole my TV. Is that something that was stolen? Wasn't it like a big ass?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a little. We knew it was not professional theft, professional thief, only because the things that were stolen were TVs, Xbox, PlayStation,
like the most obvious things that are like right in front of your face.
Yeah,
like, if you were a professional robber, like you would have not looked there first. Like you would know that there's more riches to be found.
Yeah, couches, couches, any big instruments, especially the big instruments, especially kept in cases and basically there's so many other things.
And it's just like a giant like dude walking out the house with like a TV and a guitar on one hand.
That's basically that's actually basically what happened.
Okay, so yeah, so it also would have been funny if you were like, my dad made me do nothing else, and then I joined the like Olympic Chinese weightlifting team or some shit. Like,
I would not be surprised.
I mean, their programs are like crazy for that. But yeah, so in the moment we met was at the gym. Chris was working at 24 Hour Fitness. I was a member there, and it was during COVID. So when we were wearing those freaking stupid masks, yeah. So it was during that. You're looking all angry and shit. We're just like reigniting PTSD to all the viewers at home that don't still wear masks. Anyways, Chris was doing, what were you squatting?
475.
Yeah, so Chris was squatting like 475 for a PR, and the whole gym was watching him. He had like 3 guys spotting him. So I was like, all right, I'm going to watch this guy too. Like tiny Asian dude squatting all this weight. Like, well, not tiny, like you're muscular, but just like shorter.
Yeah, I was a $175.
Yeah, squatting 475. So I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. So like I was watching him, and then like he did, and like everyone was clapping. They were like, yeah, good job, dude.
Yeah.
For giving him a pat. Like it was Chris's greatest moment of all time. So like I think I was just like, oh, good shit, dude. And then like I guess I talked to you a little bit. I don't really remember exactly, but I guess I just started talking to you more after that point.
Yeah. I was basically off hours. I was hitting a PR. I was in my strength block training like that, and then I had basically 3 or at least 2 cops, local cops, that were just really, really big black guys, and we're still cool. We're awesome guys.
Yeah, those guys were cool.
Yeah, and they were spotting me. They were like rooting for me the entire time. But yeah, when we met, it was that we kind of had the conversations that we have here today, which is, most people are still doing things incorrectly, especially in the gym. Then it was like, how did I eat? And then we found out that we kind of had the same background in terms of eating like crap, didn't know what was in food that made us feel like crap. And then it's funny because now when we look back at it, I've been kind of like guiding Benji with also some of this stuff too, with his nutrition, how it feels with his skin, how it feels with his gut, how it feels with almost everything that comes full circle.
My skin has changed completely. Like you guys will be able to see the evolution over the next year as well. Like I wish they were seeing this 6 months ago, because I had so much more acne. And then you'll see. And 6 months from now, acne will be better. It'll be like a full, not just physical transformation you'll see, but the acne transformation also.
I think what we learned overall from the experiences from 24 and from our experiences personally was that we were taught a certain way to do things. Our parents being, obviously, I'm thankful for them, but also they didn't really know much about nutrition. Then training, everything on the internet at the time was just lift as heavy as you could, move it as best you can. CrossFit was on the rise. So it was all these crazy fun movements, and everybody was getting hurt. Everybody around me was getting hurt. And then we were like, okay, well, some things have to change, because if we don't, people are still going to get hurt and then not get results. And then you realize, well, people are still getting or going back into the shape they were after a diet. Then they were getting injured in the gym within like 3 months because they're pushing as hard as they could with bad technique. And then their lifestyle didn't really change, because all they did was some crash diet, some crash training, basically. They just would go in ballistically and then come back out because they didn't even enjoy it or like it.
Well, we have a huge sampling size because it's the whole country. You know what I mean? It's all of our friends, it's all of our family members, it's all of our peers, and even in a more isolated scenario, it's almost everyone at the gym as well. You know what I mean? Like we've worked at the gym for however many years, so combined now. So, when we are able to see members come in every single day, and, of course, there's the people that come in every single day and get results. We're not saying like, oh, it's pointless to go to the gym because everyone fails. We're not saying that. But more or less, like just seeing how many people have come in and not gotten results and how concerning that was. Or how many friends and family members lost all the weight, were so happy about it, and then gained it all back. Like that was the part where it was, I think, something at maybe different points for us, but clicked in our minds where it was like, yeah, like clearly people are going about this the wrong way. They're buying all these things. This shit is not working. Like, what can we do about it?
Yeah. And I mean, from there, that's basically where this kind of developed, where we wanted to help people not go through that again, and also have a very, very high success rate, because all the trainers around us also were taking in the wrong information as well. So basically, we had
Yeah.
this 2-3 year transformation where we were trying to get this information out to people to help people, because there's so many good people now on the internet that are doing the work, that are doing the right things, and we also love those guys, and we'll mention them as time goes on. But that we wanted to fill in the gap, especially with certain people that we love to work with throughout these, combined 14, 15 years of work experience, that we've also made them super successful and had them rave about how they changed their lives and how they got into the best shape, maintained shape, that their lives basically transformed into something that they wanted to be this entire time.
Yeah, that's the most fulfilling part about this. I actually I'm pumped when someone goes from like skinny to jacked, or fat to shredded, or fat to not fat. You know what I mean? Like, I'm super pumped about that, but I love seeing the work that went into that and how the person's life has changed and like what they got out of it. Because most people that we work with, I'm not saying everyone, right? Some people are like, I just want to look good for myself and I just want to like get chicks or whatever. Like, and that's why I started also. But it's really cool to see the guy who has kids that he wants to be around for, and he's 100 pounds overweight, and he goes from like this complete victim mentality to like an inkling of, all right, I'm gonna hire a trainer and maybe I'll get results. And then you train that guy, and not only now does he look a lot better, and he's now able to be around for his kids and play with them, and be there for their wedding, and if he has a daughter, walk him down the aisle. Like, that's the thing that's so beautiful about actually getting people results in the right way, not just a physical transformation. You get these people that go from a complete kind of victim mindset as well to a complete mindset of growth, and their lifestyles go from stress, lack of sleep, horrible nutrition, horrible skin, horrible body composition, to one where it's like great sleep, great routine. They wake up at the same time, go to bed at the same time, they put the work in even when other people aren't watching, and they get this amazing result out of it, and their lives are so much better, and they not just that, but they positively impact and inspire all the other people around them. So like, if we're able to teach that to someone, then that trickles to another like 10 people. So like, every single person that we improve their lives through fitness, that can trickle to 10 more people in their families or their closest friends. And if that keeps happening, like, imagine how far that could go. And that's why I think like this is so important. I think that's the reason why we decided to do this instead of just working at gyms. Like, of course we were limited by how much money we can make. That's a factor too, because of the way the system's set up. But it's also, how much money you make at a gym is also correlated with how many people you can help, because you're limited by just your time. Each hour, that's only one person, right? But when we're doing this podcast right now, if 1 million people watch this tomorrow, 1 million people, please watch this tomorrow. But if they did, it's like we'd be positively impacting 1 million people to go take action tomorrow. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of our podcast, is that we want you to get the information and also to take action with it. We didn't want to just bombard you with mental masturbation and have no idea how to use it. So as you go through this journey with us, that you're going to be able to take actions, because the whole point is that we're going to give you the easiest of actions to take so you can get the results that you want. Because otherwise it would be this conglomeration of you listening, not doing it, listening, and doing it again, which is great. I'm glad that you're listening to us.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing what needs to be done, then you're just still staying in the same spot, just with better knowledge, but no action has been taken.
Yeah. So, well, that's like the thing Chris Williamson posted. Like, I can't remember the exact things that he said as the example, but he's like, here's a list of things that are not doing the thing. And it was like listening to a podcast about it, or like, I'm making these up, but like, he had something along these lines, like listening to a podcast about it, reading a book about it, talking to friends about it, watching a TV series about it, taking a class about it, all these things, but it's not doing the thing. So you could take a class, read a book, listen to our podcast about fitness, but if you don't take the things we're saying and actually apply it and in your life, then you're just listening to a podcast. We don't want this to be you just listening to a podcast. We want this to be you hanging out, having fun, listening to a podcast, and then also like getting your ass in the gym, getting in shape, and improving your lives. That's what we want to happen in tangent.
And it will. Trust me, it will. Because we took our experiences, and if you know anything about personal trainers, especially the good ones, they don't really just go at the numbers, just the metrics of everything. It's not that quantifiable all the time. What they do is we're like half psychologists. No, we do not have a degree in psychology. No, we're not psychologists. The point is most of the stuff that we talk about or the actions that we give people are usually around things that they are already doing and trying to communicate it in a way that we meet them halfway. And then from there, they can take the steps forward to actually get the results they want. So when you think about the things that we talk about, it's not the most obsolete things. It might not even be the most scientifically correct. And I'm coming from a background where I, went through sports medicine, and I'm very academic based, and I might talk a little too sciencey sometimes. But the whole point is I can give the actions afterwards to get you the most results, because I don't want to be the one spewing a bunch of information and then you're just sitting there absolutely confused about how many grams of protein, how many amino acids are in this specific protein, which really does not matter in the long run, because you probably just need to get enough protein.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to give an extreme example where it's not even necessarily like anything close to where we'd recommend, but if someone that was an expert and cited 65 studies about nutrition in general, and they're like just displaying how smart they are, and you don't get any takeaway from that. You're like, right? Oh, there's 65 studies here. Like, what do I go towards, right? And it's great that exists, because those are the types of things we actually listen to, so that we could divulge information in another way. So like, if you take someone like that, and then let's imagine there's another kind of like crazy guy that's like, you just need 200 grams of protein a day, all from protein powder. It's like, chances are you're going to take more action from that just because it was such a specific actionable step. And it's going to suck. You're going to like shit yourself all day, but you will get more jacked as a result than doing nothing. So I think the point is that I'm obviously giving like very much extremes. Like, we're trying to bridge those gaps, but it's that if you can, instead of being indecisive with like a bunch of things thrown in your face, like the whole point is to be actionable. It might not be perfect if you come from a scientific background. We try to filter our scientific background into something where people can understand and funnel it into the average person's mind, essentially.
Yeah. So if you're the average person, which is probably people listening to this, the whole point is that you can take the information that we give and all of the information that we also study and research and try to give it in the most practical way possible, so you can take the action you can right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember when you had originally, so you were in training a little bit longer than me, obviously. And when I was newer, you were like, my job, I think I made like an observation about people not getting results, who does, who doesn't, and how I elicit the response I want from people. And you're like, yeah, basically 95% of my job every day is being a psychologist. So like, I'm not really a trainer in the sense of how you would think about it. Like, I'm not like everything you study on NASM, or it's like the molecular science of of human biology. It's like, hypothetically, you don't need 99% of that. It's like most people know generally that, like, obviously you're there to guide them with like the right form and, nutrition patterns and stuff like that. But most people generally know, like, lift weights, put them down, eat this, not that. And like, they don't have the discipline to get there. They don't have the right mindset to get there. Of course, there's a bunch of intricacies, but the whole point is people that know nothing, if they had the utmost discipline, could still look very, very good knowing nothing. Right. You're their psychologist to get them from the point where maybe they know something, maybe they don't, but they have no discipline and they don't have the right mindset. And then you bring them to the right mindset so that now your advice actually matters. Like, you could give people all the advice you want, and it doesn't do shit if you don't have the right mindset. You could tell someone, give them the exact exercise program, the exact nutritional program, say, show up to the gym at this time, after you piss and shit in the morning, after you eat this exact food, do this, this, and that, and you'll get results. But if the person doesn't have the right mindset, that advice is going to not matter whatsoever. So like, you first have to have the right mindset in order to be able to execute on a plan that could work. It's not the plan that doesn't work, it's you that doesn't work.
Yeah. Moral of the story is, if you find a good personal trainer, stay with them forever or keep in touch, because they will help you further than anything else in terms of your shape, your body, your mindset. It all ties together. And what I could say is, most of my clients I've ever worked with we're still in touch. We still talk a lot, as much as we can with our busy lives. But the difference is that we both provide value to each other, because they provide a skill, whatever it might be, and then I provide a skill of, in this case, fitness, nutrition, lifestyle. But yes, 95% of this is psychological. So as you go through this with us, you'll notice that a lot of it is more the habits based around it. Not that it's scientifically correct or incorrect, but more so what guides us to get to the right results. And obviously in probably the most concise and also ethical way. Yeah,
I think so.
I think so. I think so. I believe so.
I know so. Just one-upping each other nonstop. So if you enjoyed this episode and want to get tons of value in the future in terms of how to build your body, subscribe to this podcast and follow us on our Instagram handles. Mine is Benji_Tucker19. And Chris, where can everyone find you?
At Coach_Chris Lee.
See you guys next time.